Let me first thank our Assistant Democratic Leader, Majority Leader, for his incredible work on the subject on the Bowles-Simpson Commission. Senator Durbin, you were a real voice of reason and brought together diverse views. We need that this week. And then with the Gang of Six, with your colleagues in the Senate on both sides of the aisle, you were able to bring us together with achieving two goals, and that's what we have to do. One is we need to raise the debt limit, and secondly, we need a credible plan to deal with the deficit. And I think you have added greatly to that, accomplishing those goals, reaching across party line, understanding it cannot be what the Democrats want or what the Republicans want, but we have to work together. But I must tell you, at this moment, we're 7 days away from the August 2nd date. So we have two goals. Goal number one is to raise the debt limit so that we don't default on America's obligations. Raising the debt limit needs to be our goal number one. We've already incurred this debt. This is not about increasing America's spending. This is for spending that has already occurred, and now we have to pay the bills. The cost of default is unimaginable to the American people. They'll pay more as taxpayers because the cost of government borrowing will go up. We know that. That's not speculation. We know that. But the cost to every American will go up because the cost of your home mortgages will go up, the cost of credit card interest will go up, student loan costs will go up, all of the borrowing costs in America will go up. But, Madam President, it will also hurt our economy. It will cost us jobs. It makes no sense whatsoever to be here without raising the debt limit. Senator Reid's proposal does that through 2012. It gets the job done. Speaker Boehner's proposal does not get it done, another short-term extension. And we should listen to the experts in the market. Christian Cooper, who is a currency expert and trader, said, and I quote, "From the market's point of view, a two-stage plan is a non-starter. There is significant risk of downgrade with a deal that ties further cuts to another vote only a few months down the road, given the significant resistance to do the right thing now," end quote. So Speaker Boehner's proposal just kicks the can down the road for a couple more months without resolving the problems. That's goal number one. The Reid plan accomplishes that. Goal number two is having a credible plan to get our debt under control. The President was right as he explained how we got here last night. He went through how under the Bush administration, the previous administration, how we took a surplus to a deficit through cutting taxes not once but twice, by two wars that were not paid for, by spending programs that weren't paid for. And now we're in a situation where we have a non-sustainable deficit. That's accurate. It's our responsibility to make sure that we have a credible plan to deal with the deficit. Leader Reid's proposal gives us that glide path. Now, I think all of us would like to see a grand deal, a grand bargain. That's not going to be achieved by August the 2nd. Senator Reid's proposal gives us the glide path for a responsible, credible plan to bring our debt under control. Speaker Boehner's proposal does not do that. It just basically says we'll deal with it at a later time. Look at the down payment. Leader Reid gives us $2.7 trillion of deficit reduction now that we can enact by August the 2nd. Well, Speaker Boehner gives you $1.2 trillion. It's clear that 2.7 really gets us much closer to the $4 trillion goal that we all know that we need to achieve. But it also gives us a game plan to be able to achieve the $4 trillion in deficit reductions that we all know that we need to do. Madam President, you and I are in agreement how we could get that done now. We know that. We have a plan. The problem is we can't get that done by August the 2nd because we can't get the Republicans in the House to move on a balanced plan. We understand that. Well, the Reid proposal preserves all options but gives us a way to get to the $4 trillion of deficit reduction that is clearly needed. It allows the use of a joint committee that will use a balanced approach. Now, we have models they can look at. The Bowles-Simpson Commission is a balanced approach to bring in a credible plan to deal with the deficit. The Gang of Six gives us a balanced approach. in order to deal with our deficits. So we have the model before us in order to get it done. But let me tell you why I think Leader Reid's proposal is the best way for us to proceed 7 days before the August 2nd deadline. It gives the Republicans basically what they have asked for. You know, we can't do this by Democrats alone. We need Democrats and Republicans working together. The Reid proposal represents the views of the members of the Senate on both sides of the aisle. Now, why do I say that? From the beginning, the Republicans have been saying that we have to have a dollar-for-dollar reduction in debt for a dollar increase in the debt ceiling. Now, Madam President, there's no relationship between our current spending and what the debt ceiling represents, because as I said earlier, it represents what we've already spent. But okay, that has been what the Republicans said we had to do. Leader Reid's proposal does that. A $2.7 trillion reduction in the deficit with a $2.7 trillion increase in the debt ceiling. The second thing the Republicans have asked for, not all, but many, is that we can't consider revenues in the package. Now, I disagree with that. I don't believe you could have a credible plan to deal with the deficit unless you include revenues, getting rid of the loopholes, getting rid of shelters. We could do that without increasing rates. We've said that many times. But the Reid proposal, what we would vote on by August the 2nd that accomplishes our goals, will do it without additional revenues. Now, it preserves the right of revenues in order to have a credible plan to reach the $4 trillion target, but we get our $2.7 trillion without any revenues, something that the majority of the Republicans have been asking for. And the third point, the $2.7 trillion in cuts that the majority leader had put on the table represent cuts that have been negotiated between the Democrats and Republicans. You know, $1.2 trillion is included in the, with Vice President Biden. The $1 trillion in cuts in regards to our overseas operations was included in the Ryan budget, and the list goes on. So these are cuts that are achievable, that have been already negotiated or agreed to between Democrats and Republicans. You know, I applaud Senator Reid. I think Senator Reid understands the seriousness of us moving forward. It allows us to move increase the debt ceiling and preserve our rights to negotiate and get the grand bargain done, and has a fallback mechanism with a joint committee that would have required votes on the floor to make sure we all have a chance to vote up or down. It preserves our options, allows America to move forward, and allows us to concentrate on job growth and security, which should be our focus as we rebound our economy for the future of our nation. For all those reasons, Madam President, I hope my colleagues will support the effort of Senator Reid to bring us together to avoid the unspeakable default that could occur 1 week from today.